Well, it has been 4 years since we've last touched upon a PlayStation title after the events in 2019 that we did tackle through Klonoa Duel to Phantomile and Pac-Man World on PlayStation. Hey, what is up everybody? It is I, the one and only Sonic the Hedgehog here, and ladies and gentlemen, we'll present to you our new Let's Play. Wow, this intro seriously hypes all along, just like in Donkey Kong 64, doesn't it? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, yes, we'll present to you our Let's Play of Ape Escape, released on 1999, the same year as Donkey Kong 64, except the fact that this only came out on the original PlayStation, so as a result though, originally though, if you couldn't tell already from the quality standpoint, I'm going to be playing this on my PlayStation 2, thanks to forms of backwards compatibility, because originally I was going to able to try to play this on the PlayStation 3, but I found out that it's not compatible and it's not playable either. So because of this though, yeah, as you can tell about the fact that not only does this game came out on the PlayStation 1, but also it's somehow managed able to get a re-release, or in some cases though, a remake on the PlayStation Portable, and also this came out on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 as well, by the forms of digital only titles or something. But either way though, since I've got the game physically ever since in 2021 alongside with Spyro the Dragon, so as a result, yeah, let's get started with Ape Escape.
Hey, Spike, do you think the professor finished his time machine?
He said he's almost done.
Then maybe we can ride it today.
If so, I'm riding on it first.
Hey, that isn't fair, Spike. Hey, waiter.
Hello, Professor.
Spike and Buzz.
Spike!
No, run you two. Okay, I got it. This becomes this, and when it becomes that, this goes like this. Therefore, that became this. We did it, Katie. The time machine is completed.
This isn't the time for that.
Spike, can you hear me? Something awful has happened. You have slipped in time with the accident earlier. You will soon arrive in the prehistoric era when dinosaurs existed. On top of that, the monkeys also have slipped in time in various eras. If we leave them alone, the history of Earth will be in disarray. So Spike, I need you to do this for me. Luckily, you should have 2 of my gadget inventions. I want you to use these to catch as many monkeys as you can. You can catch the monkeys using the net. And if by any chance you are in danger, counterattack using the club. It will be useful. It is a tough job, but you can do it. I'm relying on you.
Okay, Professor, we'll count on you. So, anyway, as you can tell, we ended up transported into some place, and somehow about the fact the matter is though, we actually stumbled across the actual antagonist of the game, known as Spectre. That sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? Although, mind you, it's a completely different character rather than the forms of, well, I don't know about you, because it has been a very long while since I actually last known about the forms of Ape Escape. So, anyways, here we are in the forms of let's just say the first stage in the game, and basically what the actual hints stuff is trying to tell you about the fact that your goal in this game is the fact that we need to capture specific monkeys when they actually has helmets on them. And basically it's your job to able to actually only use, well at the moment right now, we only get able to actually utilize 2 tools at the moment, which we have the beam sword, which allows you to able to stun these monkeys, and also the most important aspect of the game is to capture them by simply using a net. However, the control scheme is a little bit different than the forms of how it does it on any other PlayStation games as far as we've played before, that this game is mandatory to able to utilize the DualShock controller or the dual analog controllers, because yes, if you don't have one of those controllers, then this game will be not playable without any of those dual analog sticks, which also, because of about the fact that I'm playing this on the PlayStation 2 as opposed to the PlayStation 3, and also keep this in mind, this is the PAL version of the game, so you do realize about the fact that the voice actors is actually sounded a little bit differently compared to the forms of how it does it on any other versions of the game, either the North American release or the Japanese release. So anyways, let's go ahead and capture that monkey here. And I will admit though right away, trying to utilize the control style like this can take a while to get used to, but thankfully using the jump button is actually pretty self-explanatory. Just simply just press the R1 button in order to jump strangely. Because as you can tell, in order to able to use the items or tools, basically we need to able to press a corresponding buttons. Like for example, the net is actually located on the X button, and then using the sword beam when you try to equip it is by simply pressing triangle. And to use those commands, you have to use the right analog stick, depending on what specific directions you use it on. So again, it takes a bit of some time to get used to, because this is my first time I've ever going to be playing the Ape Escape game. At least technically if I want to count on the loose on the PlayStation Portable, which is basically a remake of this game on the PlayStation Portable, which came out later on during 2005 in Japan and North America, whilst in European countries came out in 2006 basically. So yeah, I guess that pretty much explains it, huh? So, every once in a while though is the fact that, as you can tell, we actually got ourselves the health bar, which actually represents these little biscuits and stuff like that, which is kind of strange. So every time whenever you get hit by not only certain enemy encounters, but also these monkeys will able to give you a bit of a payback on certain attacks, basically you lose a bit of your health. And if you lose all of your health, then you obviously lose a life. So, pretty much standard stuff for the most part. And as far as taking control of the camera is concerned, you have to simply press the L2 button as far as I'm aware. Well, at least as far as I can usually think about it. So anyways though, let's just go ahead and capture this last monkey, and I think that pretty much does it for the first stage. Mind you, there are certain parts I was missing, but again, we'll be back for that eventually, so as you can tell, we're actually going to be taking control of the main protagonist of the game, which appears to be known as Spike, which I can assure you about the fact that Spike does look pretty cool in terms of design. And also, this particular character right here does kind of reminds me of May from the likes of the Pokemon Animate series, which is pretty odd considering about the fact that, well, relatively speaking, there's not much else to say about it. So anyway, and once you're done with the first stage in the game, then we ended up in this hub world, which it kind of reminds me of the forms of one of those warp rooms from the likes of the forms of not only in Crash Bandicoot 2, but also Crash Bandicoot 3 as well. So before we get into more details onto the gameplay style, let me just go ahead and save my game, and I did not realize I don't have my PlayStation 1 memory card on me. So, but that's okay, because it's clearly right next to my PlayStation 1 Slim console at the moment. Although, originally, I was also able to expect to play it on my PlayStation 1 system, but of course it does have some graphical glitches into my AV to HDMI converter. So because of that, PlayStation 2 is the only option right here, so unfortunately though, that might seems the case for the most part, so... Anyway, so let's get into the Phones of the World map right here, and obviously we ended up in Prehistoric Era. So in some cases though, let's get into Raining Lake.
Spike, a new gadget is completed.
This is a water net that shoots a net underwater. I will send these over. Try them out in your training space. If you don't clear the training, you cannot advance to the next stage. Well, good luck.
Oh, thanks, Professor. Thank you for giving me another gadget of yours. So anyways, now we can able to have the ability to swim apparently, because now we can able to use the water net. So in some cases though, in order to swim in this game, the controls wise is a bit different though. Rather than just able to actually let the actual player just somehow dip down by its own, because instead you have to utilize the actual clickable analog sticks as the actual buttons, which is pretty unusual for the time, which even then though, that thankfully is actually pretty simple to use. But either way though, but keep that in mind, since we're going to be doing with underwater swimming, this also means, yes, we must keep an eye on the Phones of the Air meter at all times, because I can assure you the meter will start depleting if you manage to go underwater. So, similar to the forms of how it does it in Super Mario 64, relatively speaking, and same applies to Sonic Adventure, assuming if the actual number countdown decides to able to show up. So, although except with the forms of Donkey Kong 64, but either way though, I'll let Maxi mention more about it until when he goes back on to Donkey Kong 64 at some point until tomorrow. So, because yes, today's date is of course the 3rd of January today, in this case in 2023 today. So one thing I should probably forgot to mention about, and that is the fact that, oh yeah, before I get into more details about that, every once in a while is the fact that you always have to stumble across into those trading simulation sections, just in case you would be able to actually pass the test to able to demonstrate of how certain gadgets work. And then if you've done so already, you can able to resume your progress, especially that we're now going to be moving on to the 2nd level. So, oh yeah, in addition to able to capturing certain monkeys, although mind you the game encourages you to able to capture several monkeys or certain amount of monkeys before you progress, but you can able to actually just to collect them all if you will able to do for this desire. But there's also these special collectibles called these Spectre coins, and for this particular playthrough I will try my best to able to go through a full 100% completion, which as a result though, much like the forms of Donkey Kong 64, what Maxi is going to be tackling through, well, wish us luck, I guess, especially considering about the fact that, well, we do definitely need our, hope for luck, just to ensure about the fact that there might be some tricky segments here and there. But either way though, let's not get ahead of ourselves, because the first portion of the game is actually pretty easy when you get the hang of it though. But either way, let's just go ahead and capture this monkey right here. Oh yeah, let's just talk about the forms of that topic I haven't exactly discussed upon for several weeks now. That's what appears to be the Mario Kart Tour discussion, despite the fact that, well, at this point in time, we're still at the beginning of 2023 after all, so this means we're expecting to be hyped by the forms of how the fact that we will definitely get the final 3 waves for the sake of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass after all, like Wave 4, 5, and 6 throughout the year. So, but let's not get ahead of ourselves to this point, because obviously it's a bit too early to discuss right now. So, anywho, so yeah, in order to able to actually activate the water net, as you can tell, that basically we need to able to click the right analog stick as a button. That way you can able to activate the net, so that way certain monkeys are usually just involved around swimming, and then it's your job to able to actually use the actual, well, the water net in order to able to actually capture them. So, but I digress. So yeah, in terms of Mario Kart Tour discussion for this point today, there's that current tour at the moment, which appears to be the New Year tour. And one thing I didn't actually realize is the fact that not only that we actually got ourselves the forms of another variation of one of those cosmetic characters, which appears to be this time, it appears to be the green version of Toad Pit Crew, which I was not expecting to see that coming. But also I somehow managed able to get myself Builder Mario from the likes of Super Mario Maker, thanks to the forms of, once again, much like the forms of Santa Mario, I simply used rubies in order able to actually just to unlock them. Well, to be more specifically, within a discounted price. So that's actually pretty good in my opinion, especially considering about the fact that, thankfully though, the microtransactions is nowhere near as, you know, not so much of a pain anymore, unlike any forms of how it does it ever since a year ago, until battle mode is actually introduced. So, but anyway, now we've actually done with this level, but either way, eventually at this point, throughout the majority of this Let's Play, I will be able to be back for some more areas of the game, so I can able to capture several monkeys. But either way though, let's not get ahead of ourselves at this point right now. So, anyway, and also I just realized is the fact that the New Year's tour for the Mario Kart Tour game, that it's filled to the brim with a lot of trick ramps, which as a result though, there's a plenty of them. So either way though, that's just not the reason why I'm actually kind of surprised about this, but either way though, let's just go ahead and go back onto the stage selection screen and able to actually move on to the next level at this point. So either way though, let's see what we got. Dinosaur Valley. Interesting level right here. And of course, since I somehow managed able to get myself the Spectre coin right there, this means about the fact that the Spectre coin icon is now showed up in one of those levels. Or to be more specifically, 2 stages at the moment. So anyways, let's get into the forms of Dinosaur Valley, and we need to capture it for about 4 monkeys out of 7, so I will say, I really like the visuals in this game though, even though it's a little bit blocky in certain areas, but this is PlayStation after all, so it doesn't look too bad. So, anyway, yeah, in terms of the forms of which specific regions you lived in, depending if it's either the, you know, the UK version, or the North American version, or the Japanese version, is the fact that I'm sure most of you already know about this, is the fact that, well, first of all, before I get into more details about that, let me know in the comments down below for the question of the day. Have you guys ever played Ape Escape before? Especially considering about the fact that it's a bit of a shame that certain series has been give up ever since the Druidi forms have been in early 2010s, thanks to the forms of one of those minigame compilation games by this point in time. But either way though, oh by the way, that path right there will be important until for later, because obviously there are certain paths that's being blocked off by certain stuff. But either way though, let's not get ahead of ourselves, so let's go and capture this monkey throughout in this particular waterfall. And yeah, you have to watch out for those banana peels, because otherwise you're able to actually get slid, so. But I digress. Oh, it can also just manage to pull off a double jump as well by simply pressing the R1 button, by the way. So, yeah, pretty much just standard stuff, basically. Oh, of course, there are some other collectibles as well, as you can see, which are these very weird triangle objects, which if you do somehow manage to able to collect 100 of them, much like the forms of how it does it on coins, as well as the Wumpa Fruit, and especially noticeable with rings, from both Mario, Sonic, and Crash Bandicoot, that basically, oh, and also Dreamstones from Klonoa games, if you collect 100 of them, it'll grant you an extra life. Pretty standard stuff for the most part, especially considering about the fact that if you already know about those franchises before, well, you feel right at home, especially considering about the fact that how different the controls are in this game. But again, it takes a bit of time to get used to when you get the hang of it though. Well, it might not be for I don't know. It's hard to explain really, because I know for a fact that it's been about quite a few hours since I actually last recorded this kind of stuff. So, anyways, let's go ahead and keep on hitting the actual eggshells, because apparently one of those monkeys is actually hiding in one of those eggshells. Like, sometimes he decide able to run away from you, and then sometimes, depending on what monkeys you come across into, they sometimes manage to act out a little bit differently between them. like, even then though, whenever we get to the later levels throughout the game, the monkeys might actually get a little bit more difficult to capture. But either way though, we'll find out more details about that until whenever we get to the later levels throughout the game, so... Oh, looks like that T-Rex is about to be here somewhere, which I can assure you, one of the T-Rex is holding up one of those monkeys, so sure enough, there's one right over there. But, it might be a little bit tricky to able to actually time your jumps and what have you, but either way though. And in order to able to move the camera around, like I said before, it's just simply press the L2 button, and that's all you have to really do about that. Because it's kind of strange about the fact that normally, in most 3D platformer games, that usually the right analog stick can able to actually control the camera. In here though, it doesn't, because all it does is basically you can pull off certain actions for certain gadgets, so... Which I felt was quite intriguing, especially considering about the fact that this is all new to me and stuff like that. So anyways, let's get this monkey right here, and that does it. So, nicely done for my certain skills. Despite the fact that it's more likely like a semi-blind playthrough sometimes, just because about the fact that, again, it takes a bit of some time to get used to with the controls in the game sometimes. So, but I'm sure I'll get used to it though, so don't worry. So.
Oh, good.
So anyways, 4 monkeys have been captured, and I believe we'll open up the next new level that we can able to actually hop into. And I think it's more actually like a, well, I don't know about you, but either way though, let's just dive right into the level select screen again. And from here, we can able to get into Truzomiac Era, which, before we get into that though, let me go ahead and hit back into Raining Lake for a second. Because I know for a fact that originally I was going to able to try to save that for later, but it turns out I was going to be trying to go after the final 2 monkeys in this level. So, and once you're done with the forms of the rest of the capturing those monkeys in certain levels, and especially noticeable if you ever obtain the Spectre coins in any of those levels, then basically you're done with the level for good. So, yeah, that's as far as I can usually try to explain about that, so... Anyway, so let's get back into that particular question, depending on what region you lived in for this game. Depending on what region you lived in, if you ever play Ape Escape, that certain characters do have their different names, as well as different voices, depending on what version you lived in, or depending on what region you lived in, I should say. For example, that the main protagonist of the game is obviously Spike, so as a result though, nothing changed when it comes to names, although the only time exception is the voices. But as far as the forms of the antagonist is concerned, we actually stumbled across Spectre, and basically though is the fact that obviously that name is pretty much the same depending on what version you lived in. And on top of that is the fact that the Professor, yeah, I'm not joking, that's his name by the way, the Professor, you know, he was trying to help you for the progression to the game, especially of how the gadgets worked and all that jazz. So relatively speaking though, everything else will be pretty much accounted for, except for those 2 characters, which they're named differently, depending on what version of the game you lived in, or depending on what version of the game you own. Like for example, as you can tell, this is the UK PAL version of the game, so relatively speaking, that female character that just looks like May, I'm not even joking, it looks kind of like May from the likes of, oh no, sorry, Misty from the likes of, the Pokemon anime. So as a result though, that's relatively speaking, that character's name was Katie in the UK version, whilst if you ever play the game in North America, her name actually decides to able to change into Natalie. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting choice. And same applies to that blue spiked haired dude known as Buzz on the UK version of Ape Escape. That sounds familiar. And if you ever played the North American version of the game, his name was Jake, which it seems pretty interesting, all things considered, with all these regional differences between whatever names you're able to prefer pronouncing itself. So either way though, that's actually pretty super dope and everything, especially considering about the fact that, well, it continues that tradition in the future video games to come. So anyway, now we've actually captured all 6 of those monkeys in this particular one stage. And it says all clear, meaning that you've actually collected everything, ranging from, you know, all of the monkeys, all of the Spectre coins, at least depending on what level you go to. So either way though, pretty self-explanatory, and we fully appreciate about that specific work we actually went through, so... I was expecting to go back into the first level of the game, but I'll save that for later. So, Jungle River, here we go.
Spike, a new gadget is completed.
This is a monkey radar that will help you in finding monkeys. I will send these over. Try them out in your training space. If you don't clear the training, you cannot advance to the next stage. Well, good luck.
Okay, I will do that for this point, Professor. So anyway, so now we can able to actually access to the next gadget, which appears to be Buddy Forms of the Monkey Radar. And this will actually allows you to able to tell you where certain monkeys are. So you can also rotate the thing by simply utilizing the right analog stick as well. So you can able to actually choose whatever direction you go to. And, are you kidding me? There's a bomb right there. But don't worry folks, this does not count as the first step of the playthrough because this is a tutorial after all. So in some cases though, I was not expecting to see how this is gonna turn out to be. But either way though, because again, that I wasn't paying attention, so that was entirely my fault. So anyway, so the next thing I want to mention in terms of the forms of today's discussion, that is the fact that, speaking of Mario Kart Tour though, I somehow managed to able to receive a new glider, which appears to be based around 2023 year, because I mean, let's face it, let's hope that 2023 will be a massive step up from the likes of not only 2020, but also 2021 or 2022, but we'll see what happens there.
Spike, you are going to enter a period called the Cenozoic era. It is a period after the dinosaurs became extinct. There shouldn't be any human life, but I've somehow confirmed evidences of civilization. If this isn't the work of the monkeys, it will be a great discovery for science. I'd really like to investigate this matter, but we must first find the monkeys. Oh yes, you may have already noticed, but it's easier to catch the monkeys if you approach them without being noticed by laying low or hiding. Basically, you won't be noticed as much if you lay low rather than standing still without moving. I hope this helps. Well, I'm counting on you.
Hi everyone in the lab, how's it going? My name is Spectre. I'm the conqueror of the new Earth and the leader of the monkeys of the new age.
You? Aren't you the monkey from earlier? What's going on here?
Spectre, aren't you the little monkey that performed at the amusement park?
What? He's that cute white monkey that everyone loved.
Well, I don't remember. What I can say is that I've acquired distinguished knowledge and great power. I owe it to you, Professor, for inventing the helmet.
Listen well, Spectre. It is true that the Peak Point helmet you've acquired will exert your dormant knowledge when it's worn. It may even make you a genius. However, it is still incomplete and is very dangerous to use right now. I advise you to return the Peak Point helmet right away.
Incomplete? It's a wonderful invention. It's too late now anyway. We've already made a new Peak Point helmet ourselves. Mine is a special product with increased capacity. Anyway, I'm going to send in my comrades and monsters to various periods to rewrite the history of Earth. No longer will humans be the dominant species. I'm going to conquer the world. Don't try to stop me. I'm going to relentlessly attack whomever tries to get in my way.
What are you talking about? Spike will easily catch you all. Right, Spike?
Oh yes, Spike. I've prepared a good playmate for you.
Buzz! Spike, I've been thinking of settling things with you someday. Listen, I'm going to beat you. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Why? Why is Buzz there? And what's happened? You're totally different. Buzz, pull yourself together. Can you hear me?
It's no use, Katie. He is being controlled by Spectre.
Right you are, Professor. The Buzz you see here isn't the same old Buzz anymore. He has been reborn! Well, everyone at the lab, I will enjoy all of your endeavors. Goodbye!
Gee, I wonder what's going on in there. What I do found out is the fact that our best friend Buzz, or Jake, depending on what region you lived in, that I believe he got being controlled by Spectre. So yeah, this does not look good at all. So anyways, let's go ahead and get into this next level without any sort of interruptions at this point. And it looks like we do need able to capture for about, let's just say 6 monkeys or something out of 14. Gosh, we're gonna get loads and loads of monkeys to capture though. And also, as far as I realize, is the fact that I do need able to equip one of my gadgets. In this case, let's go ahead and equip the monkey radar, and that's what appears to be located on my square button. So anyway, so now we've actually settled this out of the way. So anyway, and also that certain Spectre coins will do need to acquire for about 4 of them. Like, my god, we're gonna get a lot more collectibles at this point, folks. We are getting a lot of collectibles at that point. So anyway, so the only thing I was really hoping for in terms of related to Mario Kart Tour is the fact that I highly doubt that we might still able to come across into still team rallies again and during at some point in the later months to come, which as a result though, because I'm still not a huge fan of the forms of those team rally systems for the sake of Mario Kart Tour, just because of how luck based it is, especially after the events I somehow lost to Team Peach all of a sudden by, you know, unexpected time frame or anything else like that. So either way though, they won't be nearly as abundant as compared to the forms of how it does in the past years, I've hoped. Especially that's about the fact the matter is though, is the fact that again, getting certain characters, especially on my part, is actually overall pretty easy to get this time around, rather than just rely on the random luck-based elements for that gotcha moments, for that, you know, using rupees for pipes and stuff like that, because it's now been replaced by, you know, online point converting. So yeah, that'll be pretty generous for my part. So anywho though, so let's go ahead and get this monkey up there, and as you can tell, that monkey was actually now in a different color, so this means about the fact that I'm presuming he does have his gun, apparently so yeah, we do need to watch out for those gun bullets, because otherwise if you get hit by the actual gun bullets, then you will lose your health tremendously, especially considering about the fact that it gets a bit tricky at this point in time, although we're able to actually get everything else a little bit more comfortable for ourselves. So anyway, so let's go ahead and use the Aurea, so we can able to actually use the boat to able to traverse through the water. So that way we can able to actually go from one place to the other while in the boat, while simply able to utilizing the both analog sticks. So again, this is all new to me, so either way though, don't get the actual hasty for this point, especially that again, this is why I call this like a semi-blind playthrough, so there might be a couple of times though that I'm also able to get confused about the forms of certain mechanics throughout. So yeah, forgive me if I botched this up, especially considering about the fact that, well, tell you what, as soon as we're able to get to on Thursday though, I will try to able to get certain practice for able to actually utilizing certain mechanics of the game. Then basically though, I will able to actually just get some tons of practice when it comes to utilizing the boat mechanic or anything else like that. But either way though, that might be some consumption. Oh god, we have to avoid that particular, I don't know what you call these fish critter right there, which I know for a fact that I haven't looked upon that much fishy stuff for a very long time. Speaking of something related to fishies and stuff, that exponentially this year will marks the 20th anniversary of the release of Finding Nemo, which I will say is actually pretty cool, especially considering about the fact that that film is far more superior to the forms of how it does it in Shark Tale, because my god, Shark Tale was horrible. So anyways, let's get that monkey from here by simply able to actually jump and use the sword beam at the same time, so we can able to actually just to stun them. So anyway, the next thing I want to mention while this is happening is that recently The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom has just received its rating board. And to be more specifically though, I found out in a North American version specifically, that once again, much like the Forms of how it does it in most Zelda games nowadays, or considering about the fact that ever since in Breath of the Wild, that basically though, yeah, we're getting ourselves the E10 for ages 10 and up rating system, just like in Forms of how it does it in Breath of the Wild. And this time around though, we're getting one for the likes of Tears of the Kingdom, well specifically in the North American release, because I'm pretty sure in the UK version it will be once again PEGI 12, as opposed to PEGI 7 from the likes of in Link's Awakening Remake for the Nintendo Switch. So, it seems to be more specifically, we're getting a lot of Zelda treatments for the sake of the Nintendo Switch, which is actually very good in theory, ever since in the Nintendo GameCube, because otherwise, Nintendo GameCube also has some tons of Zelda games throughout the majority of that particular system, ranging from, you know, compilation game, alongside with its original game, alongside with the forms of, well, let's just say a multiplayer focused game, and exponentially an original version of, well, Twilight Princess. So, anyways, let's activate this little gate to open by simply keep on, like, using the actual sword beam to able to activate this little cogwheel thingy right there, and able to actually get into this boat until whenever we, let me guess, it's all time limit based, so we don't think we get enough time to do that, so, nah, that seems not possible if we're able to actually just to do all that stuff, but unless there's another way I could possibly able to make it by this point, by able to actually just to, like, swim all the way through that particular point, but, again, this is all new to me, so even then though, I'm really looking forward to able to trying out the forms of the Ape Escape series, believe it or not. Because relatively speaking, much like Pac-Man World and Klonoa games, these are the series I'm really looking forward to able to doing Let's Plays for you guys. Especially considering about the fact that if you do miss those out, well, I feel incredibly sorry for you guys if you ever missed out on trying those games on your own time, but either way, let's not get ahead of ourselves, so anyways, let's do this for the third time's the charm, and I will able to actually swim my way to that particular point for the better, because I think that'll be the easiest way to do this, so swim our way as we go. So yeah, we can do just that, so I'm sure there's another path around here, but I'll save that and throw it in the next video, because I think this is the last monkey we can able to capture on this oh wait. Oh, I forget, because I always thinking about, you know what I mean, the next couple of levels up ahead, but either way though, I keep thinking about early stuff, so, alright, so let's get into this boat again, and let's just say, I would originally try to able to go after that Spectre coin right there, but I think I should probably save that until for next time, so yeah, I apologize for that particular commentary, I guess a little bit iffy at this point, because honestly guys, I think that's as far as I can talk about in terms of today's video discussion. Well, mind you, about the fact the matter is though, it's just the fact that we're just at the beginning of the new year after all, but even then though, sometimes new things might take a bit of some time to get used to, so. And also I just realized I got my extra life earlier ago, because you know that these little triangular objects that we've actually keep on collecting, similar to coins, rings, and all that stuff, that basically I got an extra life, so. Alright, so I wonder what's beyond up here, because I can assure you there's gonna be, yep, another monkey is just right over there, so we'll just, are you kidding me? Come on, there we go, and swipe it up, and there we go.
Well done.
Whew. That was a bit tricky though, especially just to get used to with the actual boat mechanics of this particular control scheme. But either way though, I was expecting if I was trying to able to like, I don't know, continue things on, but I think, you know, we'll save that until the next video, presumably,
You're
so.
good.
Nicely done for capturing certain monkeys as far as I'm aware. So, I'm not exactly sure how many monkeys we might able to capture in this game, but either way though, we'll see what happens there, so. Anyway, so let's go ahead and save my game onto my glorious PlayStation 1 card, and once we're done with that, then we can pretty much guarantee we can able to end off the video as soon as I able to. What? Come on, memory card, don't do this to me. I guess I'll have to do this off screen, aren't I? Oh yeah, we did capture about 19 monkeys, so I guess that's that. So, anyways folks, I think suffice to say, I think we should probably end things off at this point right here, so join me next time for more of Let's Play of Ape Escape for the PlayStation, or PSP, or PS4, or PS5. It's the fact that we'll go ahead and capture some more monkeys in the later stages, and I think that's about it, so I'll see you guys on Thursday. Later fellas.